Jeffrey told him some paper on the grill. So he worked out with Brian Danty and Johnny Benson's spotter, who's also riding back with DJ, if DJ could run up and bump the 10 car to clean the grill. Benson said, sure, just do it on the backstretch. He did. Then Todd Parrott gave him the difference from 1st to 43rd. DJ said, don't worry about it. It is not a problem. To Dick.
Well, Dale Jarrett's going to have some company back there because pole sitter Stacy Compton has dropped all the way to the back of the pack. Early overheating. They dropped back in order to try and cool things off just a little bit. Right now, the water's down to 180, 220 on the oil. That isn't too bad at all, but he's going to ride around in the back with Dale Jarrett. Try to miss the big one.
In preseason, the Dodge engines, previously untested in Winston Cup, did have overheating difficulties, but it's not been much of a problem since we started the race season.
But we got air temperatures in the mid-80s and probably going to climb as the day goes on. These guys, we run as much tape as we can on the front end, makes these cars go faster down the straightaway. As long as you can keep that water temperature around 215 to 220 in the draft, oil temperature 240, 250, you'll be okay.
Oh yeah, those engine men will start hollering at you if it gets over 220 because the engine will start to detonate, misfire, and the next thing you know, you've got a failure.
He took the piece of paper off his grill by wiping it off on the car ahead's bumper at 190 miles an hour.
Well, what he did is he ran right up underneath the car, Benson's car. That takes all the air off the front of his car. And with no air pushing on it, it just lets the paper fall right off.
Yeah, he probably never actually had to get up there and touch him.
No, he just got it tight, got it close to him, and it came right off.
Well, as we said in February, Daytona,
I think it might, some of it still may be on there.
These are common men doing very uncommon things.
Do whatever it takes when you need to do it.
But we've all learned. We all know what we can and can't do. It's when you go outside that box you get in trouble.
Guys, the 6-car, Mark Martin, we've not really talked about him. He's got a strategy, it looks like, of trying to stay up front. He started 5th. He was the only Roush car to qualify in the top 20. Been sitting there running in the top 5 since the green flag drop.
That car is as good here as it was not good at Daytona.
Yeah, and again, I make a point about this is not Daytona. I've had cars that won't run a lick at Daytona that fly here. There's something about the racetracks that's so totally different.
Listening to Mark Martin's crew chief, Jimmy Fennick, talk to him just a few laps ago. He radioed Mark. He said, how is everything? Everything is fine, Jimmy. I'm just riding. I'm just riding. So Mark Martin is very happy with where he is, riding behind Bill Elliott.
Things happen so fast here. The crew chief, we don't say a lot to the drivers. You let those spotters have the airways, because while you're asking him a question or he's answering you, there could be somebody running on the high side fixing to pass you. You got to leave it open to the spotters.
The biggest thing I liked about here was don't bother me about a lot of technical things, but encourage me. Tell me I'm doing a good job. Tell me to stay where I am. Stay in that lead draft. Hang in there, buddy. We got a long way to go. Encouraging the driver is one of the most important things that you can do, particularly when you're at a track like this and tension is so high.
Boy, the bank, and it's like running on the side of a building. But Darrell, you used the word a lot, anticipate. The driver has to anticipate. The spotter has to be a good anticipator as well.
Yeah, he can, you know, normally you can look at a situation and see cars getting together and you can start to anticipate some action. Here you got to anticipate all the way around because they're all over the, you know, they're all bunched up together the way they are.
Steve?
Darrell, you're exactly right. I was listening to Jeff Gordon right before the race started, and all he talked about was to his spotter, Ron Thiel. He said, let me know if I'm getting in a position where I'm going to be 3 wide. I don't want to be in the middle. Other than that, there has been no communication.
And that's a lot like we talked yesterday. Mike McLaughlin won this race. His spotter, Curtis Markham, former Busch driver. Jeff Gordon's spotter, Ron Thiel Jr., former Busch North driver. To have somebody who's been there and done some of that, that's quite an advantage.
You don't realize, nobody does unless you've been out there. You can push the wrong button, and you can really upset that driver. You can tell him something that he really doesn't need to know, start asking questions that are not important, and the next thing you know, you've got a driver that's irritated. Here, you just need to be, you got to know what he needs to hear and keep telling him that.
Well, we've been watching Bobby Hamilton in the 55 car. He's been really working the high side, trying to see, I think, there he is right up there at the very top of the racetrack. He's wanting some help up there to see if we can do anything up here, guys.
He's going to run about the Talladega 520 if he stays up there.
He's got help coming with Rusty Wallace in the 2 and Dave Marcus in the 71. This is looking out in front of Rusty, looking toward Bobby Hamilton.
But Darrell, even in the tri-oval, Hamilton came through here way high up the racetrack.
Well, we've always seen, particularly the last couple of years here, there are 2 distinctive lines. And normally that outside line, if you get enough help, can work its way up to the front. And I tell you, Nadeau is doing everything he can to pull that outside line right to the lead. He's gained a lot, and he's gaining more every lap.
Working on the outside.
Wallace underneath Presley.
This is going to be the first challenge we've had from anybody on Sterling Marlin since the race started.
That 55 team that Hamilton drives for, they finished second here last October with Kenny Wallace driving. And here comes Nadeau. The little engine that could, it's like, is trying to pull that train up alongside on track 2.
Well, he's got some great help. He's got Burton there, and he's got Hornaday. He's got some great help, and they're coming right to the front. Now, the 40 car will do what I think. What you got to do now is play both sides. Watch him. He'll move over to the left and pull the left line up. Here he comes. He's going to keep Bill's right with him. Stay with Bill. Now move out a little bit. That way you keep those cars behind you side by side.
That's a tough job to do, though, DW.
It is, and you're really sitting there second-guessing where everybody's going to go.
Nadeau edges forward.
Wow, that is very impressive considering that nobody has been able to get up there like that since the race started.
And the cars that's pushing him up there, again, is Ward Burton in the 22 that started 39th, and Ron Hornaday, who started 42nd.
Now, everything's going to change. All bets are off. Got to go back to run a different strategy. Mark Martin, Bill Elliott, Sterling, all of them, they got to rethink what they were doing. What are we going to do now?
And suddenly the race has changed. What was a single file procession at the front has Danbury, Connecticut's Jerry Nadeau coming around to lead a lap in the Talladega 500 on Fox, race 9 of the season. At the fastest track on Earth. Plenty of room to race here. We've seen them 4 wide. And they're 3 wide routinely as Jeff Gordon has now taken the lead from Mike Skinner.
Well, at least we've seen that outside line work. Somebody can pull themselves up to the lead, and that's what you need here to be able to win this race, actually.
And Darrell, he's sporting those new Pepsi colors, and he made his way to the front without the flame.
I don't see how he did it. Car looks sharp. I like it, but I think it looked good if it had flames on the side.
Steve?
Complaining just a few laps ago that 24 car had gotten a bit loose, but he told Robbie Loomis just a second ago after he took the lead that the car handles better on the high side. Let's go to Matt Yoakum. Steve, we are within 6 or 8 laps of teams making their first round of scheduled pit stops, polling a number of crew chiefs this morning, looking at Saturday's Busch race when Mike McLaughlin, the winner, went 113 laps on his left side tires. A lot of guys thinking about doing 2 tire stops here, only taking about 11 seconds to get the gas in, just take on 2 tires for track position to try to get back up front. But Johnny Benson looking at 4 tires, Todd Parrott, crew chief of Dale Jarrett, also looking at 4 tires as well. Jeff?
Today, before the start of this race at the drivers' meeting, NASCAR President Mike Helton overemphasized to these drivers, if you notice that line, that yellow line, that today there would be no way in the world if a driver got down below that line unless he was forced down there. They'd be brought in under a black flag for not driving where they're supposed to. They better mind their P's and Q's. We were not going to have a situation like what happened at Daytona. As you can see right now, we've gone over 45 laps. These guys are really doing a great job out there of minding their P's and Q's.
And from 36th to 1st comes Kenny Schrader. He did not lead the last lap, and he may not lead this one.
Again, he's got a good car there with Blaney right behind him, pushing him right up through there. He gets some good cars lined up on the outside, and I think that's really looking like the fast way. And these guys are probably going to take 4 tires, Mike, because you're going to have to fill the car full of fuel. You got to get all 22 gallon in it, so you got to put 4 tires. It ain't no need in just sticking a little gas in and going.
I mean, these guys are changing 4 tires in 14 seconds.
Right.
You got to get both cans of fuel in. That takes that long. The track is pretty slick and hot. I want to go ahead and get me my 4 tires, but I'm running up and down pit road to other crew chiefs saying, what do you think about let's change 4? You need to get together. Remember, because of the draft, you don't want to be stuck pitting by yourself.
And the pack really bunches up now. We're going to let you listen to some pure American horsepower and let the pictures tell the story for the next little bit. Take your surround sound at home or in your camper or wherever you're watching and crank it up at Talladega. Ken Schrader gets a big roar from the crowd as he stays out front past the start-finish line and leads a lap. Kevin LePage made his stop. Casey Atwood is among those in on this lap under green.
This is a little bit early. Most of the teams was talking like they could go 50 to 55 laps. Darrell, but it's such a fine line. You want partners on pit road with you, but you don't want half the field.
No.
Heck, it looks like a street in Manhattan at rush hour. You like about 6 or 7, 8 cars with you. If you can work that out, I think that's the best package.
And the thing that I always worry about is when I get ready to pit, be sure that my spotter is telling the other cars I'm coming in, because I don't want to get run over from behind when I start to make my move on the pit lane.
Steve Park, Ricky Craven, and Bill Elliott also pitted that lap. On this lap, Dave Blaney leads a group of about 8 cars onto pit road.
Yeah, wholesale bunch of them coming in now.
No, you've been out there running 180 miles an hour. You got to get down to 55 miles an hour. We run small brakes on these cars just for rotating weight off the wheels. Sometimes it's hard to judge that speed.
Oh, that in and out here particularly, I mean, makes a huge difference.
Matt Yoakum.
A 4-tire stop for Dave Blaney. No chassis adjustments. Finally, oh, he stalls the car. Blaney stalls the car. Finally pulls away.
Sterling Marlin also pitting during this sequence. Dick Berggren.
Michael Waltrip with a lousy job of parking here on pit road. Waltrip parked way too close to the wall, and he's just got himself 4 tires and a load of fuel. Sterling Marlin did as well. 2 chassis adjustments on Marlin's car, both of which are designed to tighten it up.
Hornaday, Houston, Mike Wallace, Jason Leffler also pitted. So did Jeff Purvis and John Andretti. Next lap by, and another 10 cars are on pit road. Under green, you cannot pit without losing a lap to the cars that are still out there racing. Steve Burns.
4 tires. Jeff Gordon's going to come in and get 4 tires. They talked about making a Panhard bar adjustment, and they will do that. They're going to go down 1 round to tighten him up a little bit. Right side tires going on. Mike Skinner in right behind him. No adjustments to the 31. The 24 now taking on left side tires, getting all that gasoline in. Gordon is down and away. 16.9 seconds. Skinner right behind him.
Things are busy on pit road. More than a dozen cars. Ward Burton comes out. Skinner, Buckshot Jones, Ricky Rudd, Jeff Burton.
And the rest of the field is on pit road.
Yes. Matt Kenseth has taken over the lead, and now Hermie Sadler leads this lap as Kenseth pits. Elliott Sadler, the leader. Here's Matt.
Dale Jarrett's already in a chassis adjustment for the 88 car. He said his car was just a little bit loose. 4 tires and fuel for Dale Jarrett. The 6 car, Mark Martin, also in. 2 rounds for the 6 car, and he's down and away. Dale Jarrett now pulls away as well.
And now's when running at the back of the pack can be a little bit of a deficit for you, because you've lost a lot of track position because of where you were when everybody pitted. So he's going to have to go, Dale is, to catch back up at the back of that lead pack.
Elliott Sadler, the leader, will be the last car to pit. Into the Wood Brothers pit stall.
And that's right, 51 laps, which is the longest anybody went. So I'm like Larry, it surprised me that they came in. I thought they'd stay out there a little longer.
But no matter what, you have to make 3 stops. So I guess they decided let's do it a little early in case we misfigured our fuel mileage. That way we don't take a chance of running out of fuel.
And I believe they only took 2 tires on Sadler's car. There's that speed disparity. Wallace, the spotter, telling him, you can come up on track now. Everybody's gone by you that's been running up at speed.
Well, he crosses this line right there. Now he can go wide open. He no longer is at 55 miles an hour, and this pack's coming in the triangle right now. He wants to get up to speed and try to get back with this pack. Here they're coming running about 3 times as fast as he's running right now, but if he can blend in